showed him that I had a gun, so he knew that I was serious. I didn't think. I did not think.
This is 24-year-old Raymond Allen Lovett Jr. Bearing a chilling calm, he had shot 21-year-old Leighton Dalen Whitefield in a hospital room in Sherwood, Arkansas.
And she told me herself that he choked her out and hit her and stuff like that in the past.
But that story would soon go up in flames, because sitting across from them wasn't just a man driven by emotion.
I swear to God, I'm a good person, man.
Well, they don't know. They don't.
On September 28, 2022, on a quiet Wednesday afternoon at Chai Street, Vincent Hospital in Sherwood, Arkansas, 22-year-old Jada Pye was spending time with her boyfriend, 21-year-old Leighton Dalen Whitefield. She'd been admitted for a kidney infection and was resting in room 409. But what seemed like a peaceful visit soon turned into a nightmare. Without warning, Jada's ex-boyfriend, 24-year-old Raymond Allen Lovett Jr., walked into the room. He demanded to know how long the two had been together, but before either of them could even process what was happening, Raymond pulled out a gun and shot Leighton in the head right in front of her. Jada immediately triggered the emergency alert system, but Raymond had already fled the scene. This 911 call was made shortly after.
Sherwood 911, what's the location of emergency?
Hi, I'm calling from CHI St. Vincent Hospital. We just had a active shooter alert on 4A of our hospital.
Do you have any witnesses?
No, we just had it called, so normally when
Yes, we have officers. We have officers en route. Do you have any more information as to where to?
No, we are all leaving the building right now.
Everybody's leaving the building?
Yes, it's on 4A, which is the fourth floor of our hospital.
Yes, that's what we got.
When the police finally reached the scene, they were met by the grieving girlfriend, still in shock and confusion from what had just happened.
And what's your name? What is it? And who was hitting you?
My fiance.
The one that...
Okay. The other one was my dad's fiance's stepson. That's what's happened before.
Raymond was arrested shortly afterward and immediately brought in for questioning. And soon in the interrogation room, the real story begins to unravel.
How you doing, Raymond? Hey, so I'm Detective Edwards with the Sherwood Police Department. So I'm going to be the main one handling this incident. So we pretty much have a lot of evidence for this case. So we're just trying to talk to you, get your side of the story, and clear some things up. Okay. So before I do that, I'm just going to ask you a bunch of basic stuff. You've probably been asked this a million times, so if you just bear with me. Can I get your first name?
Raymond.
Can you spell it for me?
R-A-Y-M-O-N-D.
What's your last name?
Lovett. L-O-V-E-T-T.
Okay. What's your address?
At first glance, it seems that Raymond is trying to grasp the gravity of the situation. He sits with his head low and his posture slouched. But unlike many killers, Raymond is smart, at least to some extent, playing it safe by asking for a lawyer at the very beginning.
I want to talk to you, but I don't know if I really should. I feel like I should talk to my lawyer first, or a lawyer first. I'm not a bad guy.
Yeah.
I'm just not trying to get nailed to the cross.
I mean, we already know what happened and what you've already talked to state police about. We're not getting into all that. We're just trying to
It's just
fill puzzle pieces in to make connections as to,
Like I said, at any point that you want to quit answering the questions, you can. But I mean, like I said, it's still your right. It's your choice to make.
I just feel like people are trying to nail me to the cross.
There's no need to nail a killer to the cross when he's already done it to himself the moment he decided to pull the trigger. And make no mistake, Raymond is indeed nervous, because soon he would start making a different claim altogether.
Yeah, definitely not trying to nail it.
Keep your signature right there. So I just want to let you know that I talked to a lot of your family members, all right, and every single one of them have pointed to the fact that you're not a bad kid. You're not a bad guy. What you did was for a reason.
Sir, I lost my mind. I mean, that's point blank.
Yeah. Alright. So like you said, we reviewed the interview that you had with state police. So we're just trying to get, we know that you did it, we're just trying to figure out why you did it, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to start with a bunch of simple questions. And so this can also be used, I mean, in your benefit, because this is an interview, this is recorded, this is an official statement from you.
And
Okay, that's-
probably won't be.
So, I mean, like I said, at any point if you want to quit answering my questions, just tell me and we'll leave. Okay. So at the end of the day, you're still a human being. You still have rights. All right. We're going to treat you as such. We're going to treat you with respect because everybody deserves respect.
It's good to see you again, buddy.
Yeah, not a problem, man. That's why I wanted to come up here because I know you recognize me and I was with you before. So.
Okay. So basically, we're just going to touch into your past a little bit. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So, a big question is that we've been like trying to figure out, and we've been getting kind of like mixed answers on, is your relationship with Jade. If you could just touch into that, like when you first met her,
Well,
and how y'all's relationship progressed.
For years we were. I mean, I guess you could say we were more like brother and sister.
To understand the complicated dynamic between them, we need to rewind back to when Raymond's and Jada's parents first started dating. It wasn't just the parents who grew close, it was also the kids. And that bond, which was supposed to be sweet and innocent, would eventually twist into something dark enough to end in bloodshed.
I mean, I guess at first I kind of looked at her like a sister, you know, but we weren't related or anything. And over the years, I started to I fell in love with her.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I think she loved me. She said she loved me, but after a while, we had a small relationship. It was brief, and her dad didn't approve, and he stepped in, and that was that, pretty much. And I didn't see her for a while after that, years. We still kind of talked here and there, but I hadn't seen her, and but we were still close, and I still care about her.
There was more than just care that lurked within Raymond. He had a deep obsession with Jada. He couldn't stand the fact that Jada was seeing someone and was soon to be engaged. If he had truly cared for her, then he wouldn't tear apart her life and kill the very person she loved the most.
Do you remember like what year and like kind of like dates of whenever y'all was like actually together before the dad put a stop to it? Was it years ago? Like
I want to say like 2018, 2019, or around then or so, I want to say.
How old was she and how old were you when y'all?
if you can remember. You can
19 ish.
Okay. So you were 19?
Ish.
Oh, around that time. Okay.
It's kind of fuzzy to me, to be honest.
Okay. So you're 19?
Ish.
19-ish, I'll put that there. Did y'all have an intimate relationship?
No, not really.
Not really.
Yeah.
So y'all never had sex or anything like that?
I mean, to be technical, yes. I mean,
What do you
for
mean?
like 3 minutes.
Okay, so y'all had sex for 3 minutes? Like sexual
Maybe
intercourse?
less than that.
Maybe less than that.
But that was literally it. That was the only time. And,
Okay. And that was consensual?
Yeah.
She wanted it too?
Yeah.
Okay. And that was whenever you were 19-ish, or was that after?
That was around then, yeah, 18, 19.
18, 19. All right. So then, what happened throughout the years? I kind of just like lost contact, or?
Well, basically, once her dad found out and didn't approve of it, he made her stop talking to me and stuff, and so we just kind of fell off for a while and wasn't talking to each other for a while.
Okay. Was there a reason why he didn't want y'all talking to each other?
He just didn't approve.
Didn't
Honestly, didn't want her with me. For whatever reason, I couldn't tell you.
Couldn't tell me. Okay.
It just didn't prove. Maybe it's because he saw.
Maybe he saw just how dangerous Raymond really was. Raymond doesn't realize it yet, but he's slowly giving away a detail that could easily unravel his entire story.
We were more brother and sister. I don't know.
How did y'all meet? I don't think I asked that question.
How did we meet?
Yeah. How did y'all meet?
Through Bobby, her father. When him and my stepmom started dating
Okay.
way back when, that's like initially like when I met them and stuff.
Okay.
We were all kids at the time.
So you said y'all was off and on. When's the last time? Like, when did the?
Well, we weren't really like, our relationship wasn't really off and on.
Also, like at this point, I'm talking about like y'all's friendship. So like you said that y'all lost contact. So did she reach out to you recently, or you reach out to her recently?
Well, after when all that stuff happened and her dad put an end to it, and I was told like if he found out she was talking to me, he was gonna like send her to live with somebody else or whatever. And so we just stopped talking to each other. And
so that was like last week.
No, that was years ago when her dad did that, like 3-4 years ago when that happened. But we lost contact. I tried reaching out to her over the years, had no luck. But after my mom had passed away like 3 or 4 months ago, and she heard about it, and she reached out to me on a messenger, and that's when we started talking again, basically.
Okay. Just as like.
Just friends.
Just friends.
She just wanted to make sure I was okay and was telling me, she was here for me and stuff like that.
Okay. Did y'all hang out with each other in these last 3 or 4 months?
No. I had only seen her for the first time like the day before the incident, and it's because her dad had just died.
Okay.
And everybody, including me, was just kind of going through it, and I was just trying to be there for her. And then next thing I knew, she was in the hospital again, and anyway.
Okay.
Raymond's statements already tell the real story he refuses to say out loud. Without realizing it, he handed the detectives the key pieces of this case. Raymond was obsessed with Jada. He kept tabs on her, even when she was admitted to St. Vincent Hospital for a kidney infection. And the next clip only reinforces the truth. Jealousy wasn't just a factor. It was the driving force that set everything in motion.
Now, you mentioned you loved her, and there's no shame in being in love with someone. There's nothing wrong with that. We've all been in love with someone, man. There's nothing in that. So when she reached out to you after your mom died, how did that make you feel?
Happy. I was glad to hear from her.
Yeah.
I was surprised, actually, to hear from her. I didn't really think I was gonna ever hear from her again.
Okay. And then when you saw her, you said the day before the incident, how did you feel when you saw her again? Did it rekindle the emotions like, man, I kind of miss her? You felt how you felt when you were in love with her?
One way to put it, yeah. It was a lot of mixed emotions, because it was the first time I'd seen her in years, and I hated that it was under such a shitty circumstance, and Bobby was like a father to me too, and yeah, I guess you could say there was a lot of old emotions that came flooding back, yeah.
Okay. Did you stay the night with her that night, or?
I was with her all night, just talking to her and stuff. She was a wreck.
She was a wreck. Was that when she was hospitalized the day after, right?
Yeah, the day after.
So what happened before that? Like what led up to her getting hospitalized?
She started like running a fever and stuff. I had left for some reason. I'm trying to remember what. I can't remember. I left, and when I came back, that's when I was told that like she was in the hospital and stuff. So he went ahead and took her up there because she had like a 103 or 104 temp or something like that. And I wanted to go up there and see her like then, but everybody was telling me that what's his name was up there with her.
Yeah.
and that it wasn't a good idea. And, you know, they were right. And so I just said it, and I just let them have their time. And, yeah.
Okay. Did you whenever you saw her the day before, or after that, the dealing with her father, did you know she was in a relationship, or did she mention anything about that to you, or?
I didn't know she was currently still in a relationship with him. I knew like they were still talking and stuff like that. I thought they were broken up or whatever.
Right.
I didn't realize that they were actually still together until, you know, I heard that he was up there visiting with her and stuff like that, and I just kind of put two and two together.
Okay.
It's highly debatable whether Raymond truly knew about Jada's relationship beforehand. But what's clear is, on the day he visited her, when the unthinkable happened, he was well aware that Leighton would be there. In fact, when Raymond arrived, Leighton had just come back with some food and was hanging out with Jada. That sight alone seemed to trigger Raymond's jealousy, and he immediately started asking about their relationship. It's not uncommon for killers to spin tales once they find themselves in an interrogation room. And Raymond was about to spin one of his own, a story where murder would seem like a necessary act.
Because I guess you could say I was just trying to make sense of it, you know, like, why are you still even talking to him? Like,
Right.
you admit that he put his hands on you. And, you know, she just kept saying, oh, well, it was a while ago, and he's better now, and he's changed, you know, like what they always say, pretty much. She was in denial or whatever, and I don't know.
Okay.
A man can deceive the world, but not himself. Raymond's silence and the way he kept his head down spoke louder than any words. And what he says next unknowingly confirms exactly what he is: a hospital shooter.
The incident itself, but I do want to talk about what happened after the incident, if that's okay with you.
Sure.
All right. So after the incident, how did you leave the hospital?
Well, I got to the elevator, and that's about when it really started to sink in, and I was freaking out. And I heard them call over the intercom saying that there was an active shooter and yada yada.
Were you still on the fourth floor at that time, or were you down on another floor?
I was in the elevator at that point.
Going
when I
down.
had heard, I was like going like for the button when I had heard the intercom.
Okay.
And I don't remember which button I pressed. My brain was all over the place in
Right.
that moment, and I couldn't believe, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, man.
So when you got off the elevator, what did you do then?
I got off on whatever floor. I don't know what floor it was. I don't think it was the first floor. It was one of the other floors.
Did you talk to some like nurses or anything?
Yeah. When I had got off, I started asking people like, where's the exit and stuff, because like at that moment all I could think of was like, oh God, they're gonna come up here and kill me. They're thinking there's somebody here shooting everybody, you know, and so I was just freaking out, looking for a way out, and I can't remember what all they said, but at some point I had found a stairwell, and that's how I got out of the hospital.
Okay. A lot of us, they said that there was another gun involved. Was there another gun involved?
Hell no.
No.
Who said there was another gun involved?
It's just what I've been hearing, man. It's
No.
just like I said, this is just the beginning of the investigation. We're just trying to get everybody's stories, and yours is one of the more important ones.
I'll
because
be
you actually-
honest. I had a couple of firearms in a backpack in my car,
Okay.
but I did not have them on me, and they weren't used.
Okay.
And
Did you ever ditch any of those guns?
to be honest, yeah, I did. I didn't think like, you know, since they weren't used or anything. So I had, when I drove back to Little Rock and I went to the house, and I was hoping that my sister and my nephews would be there. I mean, I figured my nephews wouldn't have been there, but I just kind of wanted to say goodbye.
Right.
And I took my backpack and I put it back there, and I told Justin to make sure that my dad got it, because I don't know, I was hoping like maybe he could like pass it on to my brother or something one day in the future. So, I don't know,
Right.
but I don't know. I gave him that backpack, and I say I gave him, but I just set it down in the room
Right.
and told him to make sure that my dad got it. And I gave him a hug, and I had an emotional goodbye, and I hugged my nephew.
What did he say to you?
I really can't remember, sir.
Oh, that's fine.
Something along the lines of "I love you, man," and goodbyes too. And
How long were you there for?
not long, maybe a minute or two.
A minute or two? Okay.
I was scared that like the cops were already coming there,
Yeah.
And so I knew like I couldn't stay long.
Okay.
And
So the guns in the bag, were any guns taken out of the bag and separated, or are they all?
no,
They're
I
all
just
together?
They're all
set the
together?
bag down
So-
and left.
So, what I'm getting at is, they're scared there's another gun that you might have thrown out the vehicle somewhere, and we don't want somebody to pick it
Yeah.
up, like a little kid to get a
I
hold of
promise
it.
I didn't.
Okay, and I believe you. That's just one of the things in an investigation that we have to clarify, because again, I mean, I just don't want a 10-year-old to pick up that gun and think
No,
it's
sir.
fake and something and shoot ourselves. You know what I'm saying? So
It's almost baffling to hear Raymond making these claims when he brought weapons to a hospital and terrorized the patients, disrupting the flow of work that is responsible for saving lives. And he did it all with a pregnant girlfriend waiting for him at home. No wonder Jada's father, Bobby, was against their relationship, because Raymond was a ticking time bomb.
I need to turn myself in. I knew like that was my only logical move.
right,
And but I knew like if I turned myself in that the car would probably get impounded, and like it's not my car, that was my girlfriend's car, Haley, and she's pregnant and stuff. But needless to say, like I was trying to look out for her too, because I knew she needed the car.
right,
And so I left the car there, and I gave the keys to Morgan, and I said, do not drive that car. I just left the scene in it, blah, blah, blah. And that's when I left.
you left. So I was told that you unloaded the gun and stuff. How did you do that? Like, did you? What'd you
Well,
do?
before I left, I had, well, I mean, the gun was already practically empty. I had like one round left in the chamber.
Okay.
But I had an extra mag on me, because I always carry an extra mag.
Right.
And I took that mag out and I popped the bullets out of it. And I did that in the car at first. And then I thought about it, and I was like, well, I don't know, I probably shouldn't leave that in the car. So I grabbed the bullets and put them in my pocket instead. But I left the gun, completely unloaded. And
Where'd you leave the gun at?
it was still on me at
It's
the
on
time.
you? Okay.
And because I didn't want to leave that in the car either, I wasn't trying to give any reason for them to take that car away,
Right.
and I'm guessing they probably did anyway, right?
But just put your mind at ease. She's gonna get it back Monday. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because she needs it.
Yeah.
like,
And we know she needs it. So we're gonna do everything we can to expedite that. So you took the bullets. You stuck them back in your pocket. You unloaded the gun. You put the gun in your back pocket, front pocket.
I put it back up here, like abdomen area, in the front.
Yep.
And
Did you have a holster, or is it just
I did
there?
not.
Okay. And then what happened after that?
I was thinking of like how I should turn myself in, and I was walking, and I was thinking like maybe I should just ask somebody to borrow their phone, and somewhere along the way I said, I'll just go to the gas station and ask to borrow their phone,
Okay.
and so that's what I did.
All right. Okay.
So, quick question. So the gun that you had that you went to the gas station with was the one that you used at the hospital, correct? Okay.
It was a Taurus.
Taurus. Okay.
Okay.
And when you left the hospital, did you call anybody use a cell phone and call and talk to anybody or
I did.
text? Okay.
I did. I was freaking out, and like in that moment, all I could think was, you know, I just threw my life away, and so I just started like calling people and trying to let them know like, hey, I'm probably gonna go to prison, and I was, you know, telling them I love them and just stuff like that. But yes, I called some people. Yes.
Okay.
Raymond isn't fooling anyone. Even if he hadn't turned himself in, the cops would have hunted him down. He might try to justify it now by saying he did the right thing, but the detective sitting across from him already knows how it all went down, and we're about to hear that story from Raymond himself.
In Little Rock? Okay. Is there a specific place in Little Rock?
But that was also in that moment, like I hadn't completely decided like if I was going to turn myself in that day or the next day, because a part of me was like, well, maybe I should try to like have a day to like say goodbye to people and then turn myself in tomorrow. And then I started thinking like, well, they're probably just going to track my phone.
Okay.
And so I tossed it.
Okay.
And
Were you driving when you tossed it?
yeah. And I just like threw it out the window real hard onto the street.
And go back when. So when you said you never met Leighton. That's I guess her fiance. You never met him before the
I
incident.
had only heard about him.
Just heard about him.
Yeah. I didn't even know his name. Like I'd been told his name a couple of times, but I didn't even care enough to like remember his name. You know.
Yeah. So and this just you know, like I said, how did it make you feel that, you know, beside the point? Let's say he wasn't abusing her or nothing like that. If that was the case.
You're asking was I jealous?
Yeah. Did it make you feel like this was this girl at one point was the love of your life? You loved her, you cared about her, and that he was kind of taking that spot that you believe you could have had. How did that make you feel about that?
I wouldn't say I felt jealous. You know. I don't know. I felt like maybe it was kind of a missed opportunity in a way, but I wasn't jealous. Like I knew, like, you know, people move on and stuff, and it'd been years and stuff, and I had moved on myself, and so no, I wasn't jealous.
So, and I appreciate you disclosing that to us. I have another question, and it's probably going to be the most direct question that somebody's going to ask you about this case. If you don't mind me asking, why did you shoot? Because everybody has a reason. But I want to hear your reason, and because the only person that can tell anybody anything about this is, you know, the one who did it. And the best way to do that, I mean, I guess, would be your reason on why you did it.
You know, I've been really thinking about that myself. And when he came into the room, like, I just had this wave of anger that came over me, you know, and like I never felt so angry in my life, like, but I knew like I couldn't do that, you know, and like I knew I couldn't just spaz the out on him, not while Jay was right there. And so I was trying my best to keep the peace and just not say anything to him, you know, because I knew that was my best option, is just not talk to the man. And but I had gotten to a point where like I was shaking, and I just knew like I knew I was about to say something to him, you know. And I had got up and I started telling Jade bye, and I sat down on the bed, and I like was asking her like, are you gonna be okay and stuff. And like I looked over at him, and he was looking at me, and he just had like this stink eye, or like a mean mug, you know. And I don't know, I felt like he knew like I wasn't a brother, or you know what I mean, like I felt like he knew like I was, like we had a thing at one point or something. I don't know, but he was mean mugging me, and like I was I was about to leave, and I swear to God, I was about to leave, and I was telling myself, like, in my head, you need to go. And I just, in that moment, I couldn't pretend like I didn't know, you know? And I said something to him. And I can't remember exactly what I said, but I remember I had said something like, the only reason I don't you up right now, or I said something like that, and I said, because Jade's right here. And he was like, you know, whatever, making side comments. And I said, like, I don't know what's true and what's not true. And I said, but if I hear something about you putting your hands on her again, it's not going to be good for you. And like, I can't remember what all he was saying, but he was like, just kind of making remarks. And I remember one of the things he said, he was like, oh, we'll have our time, or he said something like that. And like, when he said that, like, in that moment, like, I knew, like, I was about to spaz the fuck out. And I was like, I looked at him, I said, you really just need to shut up. Like, you just need to stop talking. And he said something else. I think he said, like, or we could have our time now, or something like that. And he, like, started fidgeting, about to get up. And, like, in that moment, I said, if you get up, I'll kill you. And I showed him that I had a gun. So he knew that I was serious, and he wouldn't get up out of that chair. And for whatever reason, he got up out of that chair anyway. Relatively quick, too. Like, it wasn't slow. And when he started getting up, like, I didn't think.
He, in fact, did think it through. Why else is he carrying weapons? Moreover, what purpose can a weapon serve when you're visiting someone in the hospital? Obviously not to perform surgery. Watch closely as this man visually explains his lie. He probably thought it over 1,000 times when he was on the run.
I put my hand on my weapon, and I was taking it out, and like, the moment he got to his feet, and we were close, like, we were like this distance away from each other, and the moment he got to his feet, I let him have it, you know. And
How many times did you shoot? Do you remember?
This is the only truth he speaks in the entire interrogation. But whether it's a calculated move or Raymond finally coming to his senses and accepting the depravity he caused remains to be seen.
Was your gun fully loaded at the
yes,
time?
I had a full clip and one in the chamber. I always carried with one in the chamber. And I shouldn't have even had the gun, and I know that. But if you ask anybody that knows me, like, I carry a gun everywhere. I've been shot before, and I refuse to just let somebody kill me, you know. And I know, like, you never know when you might need a gun. And that's why I'm like that, you know. And
So if you remember, when you shot first, did he fall down and you kept shooting? Did you shoot once and then shoot again, or did you shoot rapidly all through?
I think it was rapidly. I know he got up, and like, the moment he got to his feet, I started firing, and he went back, like, into the little bed thing that he was sitting on. He, like, kind of fell back, and I just kept going. And I don't know why. Like, I don't know why I kept going, but I kept going.
Okay. Next question I have here to ask you is, and like I said, I know you care deeply about Jade. But what I want to understand is and maybe it's just you were caught up in the moment and it just you didn't understand kind of what the reality of the situation, what happened. But my question is, why did you point a gun at Jade?
I didn't. That's what I'm so confused about, because when they said in court yesterday that I was being charged with assault too, and that she said I pointed a gun at her, I do not remember pointing a gun at her.
You don't remember or don't think you did?
I'm pretty sure I did not point a gun at her. Why would I point a gun at her? That's what doesn't make sense to me. And maybe the only thing I could think about is maybe I, like, flagged her with it after I shot him when I was, like, leaving, you know? But I never physically pointed the gun at her. I swear to God, I never pointed the gun at her.
Okay. What did you tell Jade before you left?
I don't think I told. I don't think I told her anything. I don't remember. Did she say I told her something?
We're just trying to figure out what was said after you shot. If you had any communication with Jade before you left the room.
I just remember I shot out of him, and I remember her like crying and freaking out, and that's like when I left.
Okay.
But I did not point a gun at her, so I don't know why she would say I did.
And that's why we're doing this interview, man, because we're clearing up stuff, because we get a lot of.
I would give my life for her. I would never point a gun at her, especially a loaded gun. Like, you know,
Right.
I don't.
And like I said, it's the point of our interview, because we get a lot of information. We got to figure out what's facts and what's false. So we've asked you a bunch of questions. Do you have any questions for us?
How screwed am I? Like, am I getting nailed to the cross here? Because I swear I'm not a bad guy. I just
Our
snapped.
job is not to nail you to the cross. We don't do our job as police officers. We're not punishment. Courts and the jury, they make that decision. All we're trying to do is we're trying to gather evidence of the facts of the case and get everybody's version of it. And then, see, the reason why we're here to talk to you is because if we didn't really care about your side, we got enough as it is. We don't need to talk to you. But I want to understand more, because there's more to there's two sides to every story. You
He
care.
wasn't even supposed to be there. He wasn't supposed to get there till like 2:00, and he showed up around like, I don't know, like 9 or something. Like, it was so early. And I should have left, but like, I knew I had to work later on that day, and I was flat broke. My car was almost out of gas, and like I knew like I wasn't gonna be able to see her again until like after the 7th when I got paid, and I didn't know what the was wrong with her. I didn't know if she was dying. I didn't know if she was gonna be dead, you know, the next day. And so like I should have left, but like I didn't know if that was gonna be the last time I saw her, and I hadn't even been there long when he showed up, and so I guess that's why I stayed. I just wanted more time with her, you know.
And I mean, we talked to family members, and it just from what I've known of you, talking to you these couple of days, and then talking to your family members, you seem like the kind of guy that you care because you're a kind of protector. You want to defend people who can't defend themselves, because apparently you grew up in a rough neighborhood. People have messed with you in the past, messed with your sisters in the past, and you're kind of that protector. You unofficially, like, you're there to protect people.
I've always been that way, man, and it used to get me into so much trouble too.
And so, and I get where you're coming from. I understand your thoughts behind things. So, and I guess Haley is how long have you been in a relationship with Haley?
Over 3 years.
Does she know anything about Jade?
I had mentioned her like in the past, yeah. I mean, she knew. I mean, she should know. She should remember. And I told her like we had a thing before, yeah.
Did Haley ever know that you were going to go see Jade or talk to Jade or anything about that?
I didn't. Well, honestly, Sarah, she can be insecure sometimes.
The only one who's insecure here is Raymond, now projecting those insecurities onto his girlfriend, Haley. Because apparently, murdering Leighton wasn't enough for him. This is exactly the kind of man every warning sign screams about.
I don't know, sir. I didn't want her to like jump to conclusions or anything. So no, I didn't tell her that I was going to go visit her.
Okay. All right. Well. Yeah.
But I did tell her that like I told her when Bobby passed and stuff. I did tell her about all of that.
We got to pick up the pieces and move on from here, okay? But the thing, that's like I said, that's why we came to talk to you. And everything you said, it's all recorded, so it's going to go in the case file, so people can understand how you felt and what you've been through. So you're just not just some nameless person, just some shooter out there.
And that's how everybody's looking at me in here, man. Like, people are treating me like I just like shot up a school or something. And I swear to God, I'm a good person, man.
Well, they don't know.
I lost my mind, man.
They don't know the facts of the case like we know it. Okay, they don't understand it, and let people draw their own conclusions. Okay. All you got to worry about is the fact that you told us your story and how you felt, and the court will know that. That's the only one you got to care about is the jury and the judge. You don't have to worry about what other people out there think, what other officers think, what other jailers think, what other prisoners think, what your friends or family think. All he had to do was stay in his chair. That's all he had to do, is stay in that chair, you know? All he had to do. And I would have walked out, and that would have been that.
The audacity of this man, blaming the victim after murdering him in cold blood. Don't be fooled by his tears. They're as calculated as everything else he's done. It's all just an act, one he'll switch off soon enough.
But he just had to get up.
Now, are you with other people or are you by yourself?
I'm by myself, and they say I'm on watch, and I don't really. How is locking me in a cell all day, 24 hours a day, with absolutely nothing to do? And then when I think about it, like, they don't really check up on us very often. And my cell is like dirty as shit, and there's flies and gnats flying everywhere. I had a cricket in my cell yesterday morning, of all things. It's just, I'm scared I'm gonna get sick and shit. Like, I don't know, dude. It's not humane, in my opinion, at least.
Says the man who inhumanely killed someone just 48 hours ago. And all his sudden concerns now can't save him from the bleak future that awaits him in prison. In September 2022, Raymond Lovett Jr. was convicted of capital murder for the shooting of Leighton Whitfield. The jury found him guilty, and Raymond was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, plus an additional 15 years for a firearm enhancement. He now, however, has plenty of time to think about his prison conditions and his bleak future. Unfortunately, it's his unborn child who will suffer most, growing up without a father.